to see so many of you turned out in large numbers early this morning. We are actually quite far from this, from sort of doubling, but also our GDP has been growing. And if you just do some back of the envelope calculations, what this means is that we'll be spending about 30 to maybe 60 billion in that range on R&D. This is a huge increase. It's a 5 to 10-fold increase of what is currently being spent. And what the number is, 756 multinational corporations have set up R&D labs in India, and they are all based on Indian talent. So the talent exists. If you look at the patents being filed in India, a lot of money, and there is a lot of talent already, and all the institutes and universities are generating more talent. And now to come to an example, I'd like to give actually two examples which are somewhat different at IIT Bombay. One of them is our Center for Excellence in Nanoelectronics. This is a center which is devoted to actually making devices, that is basically computer chips, electrical engineering, who are working in this center, and more than 100 PhD students there. And what is really interesting is that these colleagues of ours are working very closely with industry. The biggest partner there is Applied Materials, which is a US-based company which makes machines for making chips. Applied Materials has given us equipment worth about $12 million, and each year they invest about $500,000 projects, and some of them work on Applied Materials projects. And of course, they have part use of the facilities that they have funded. So this is a very successful collaboration, and it's sort of increasing in magnitude because they find it very interesting to collaborate with the kind of talent that there is. And in fact, just to underline this issue of talent, one of the very senior people from Applied Materials told me that, if you go and look at their Singapore facility, they have a similar case innovation and research that has been set up at IIT Bombay. The center is initially been funded by Boeing Company and Department of Science and Technology. And this center is actually working in consortium mode, and a large number of other companies which are related to manufacturing have come on board. The whole idea is that each company pays an annual membership fee at different levels, and several major companies have come on board. Contact with industry is extremely important. I think without that kind of interaction, it would be very difficult to justify investing large amounts of money into research in the IITs. So we are really very keen, and we are working hard to build partnerships with industries so that we do relevant research which makes some kind of impact in the long run.
Thank you. Ravikant, can I ask you, Professor Khakkar has said that these international companies, what's the view from an Indian company that actually spends quite a lot of money on R&D around the world? How do you see our university complexes and the collaboration on R&D here versus what you see in parts around the world?
Well, as we all know that at the moment, the current juncture, things in India are not as evolved. They are getting on to it, as Professor Khakkar has mentioned. But there is a lot for IITs to attract these kind of things. And one of the things I'll just preface by saying that IITs, instead of just mainly focusing on bachelor's things, they need to go much beyond that, and they must management education. Everywhere it is more to do with research than with this, and I would certainly like to urge the IITs and also the government to encourage IITs to go into that direction. And that will perhaps bring about a better understanding and realization from it will attract industry a lot. Having said that, we have in Tata Motors Group, we have research centers of our own in Korea, in India, and in the UK. But what we have seen in the UK, as opposed to Jaguar Land Rover, what we have done is, in the city of Warwick, we have housed this European Technical Center. What the UK government has now done is, they have announced creation of a national automotive innovation center at the city of Warwick, for which they have given about 92 million pounds, so equivalent to about $150 million, to be housed there. So one of the things that a key component of this is what I've just said, but other auto industry people have also come and they're looking at those technologies. So it is through that we can create a major ecosystem for that and take it up. And unless you see the benefit is seen by the industry will not come. And some are setting up centers, but Indian industry is lacking, I would say, in the same kind of initiative, same kind of bold this thing. But we must understand that unless Indian industry is able to create its own patents, unless it's able to create its own edge, competitive edge in the marketplace, it will have a very, very difficult time going forward. So I think there has to be a realization from the industry, there has to be realization from the IITs and other educational institutions, and the realization from the government. It is a three-way process, it is a three-pronged attack, and I think it is through that we will be able to evolve to a much higher level.
Thank you. I'm just going to go I'm just going to switch between IIT directors and folks from the industry, so I'll just come back to you in a minute. Can I hear from Professor Ramamurthy about what you're doing at IIT Madras, and how do you see this developing? And are we, as I said, are we going to see another big ecosystem developing around?
I think, as Mr. Ravikant just spoke, the key to taking our industry and our national ability to the next level is for Indian industry to develop their own product patents, their own IPR, and leverage those. Also to address market needs that are somewhat unique to this country and take advantage of those to be the first mover. And specifically in the context of IIT Madras, and then I'll come to the automotive and electronics part. We have actually, we've taken a few steps over the last few years, and some more recently, to try to bridge this, good. What this does is to actually bring the R&D divisions of industry right next door to the institute, so that faculty and the people in industry who are doing the R&D can work very tightly together. In other words, a little bit of what happens in the ecosystems that have developed in a natural way in other countries that have been mentioned is created, but not necessarily in one vertical, but across many verticals. So this is a beginning, and looking at the potential benefits of this, I think there is a clear move now on the part of the government to encourage the setting up of such research parks at several other, near several other academic institutions in the country, the IITs, NITs, and so on. And the 12th plan has actually has a very clear goal of setting up 50 such research parks. The government has already started moving in this direction. Clusters are a very natural evolution that occur and leverage a construction cluster. And both in construction technology and in, not just both, I would say construction technology, automotive, and to some extent electronics. In electronics, the country itself is beginning with the level from the office of the director, and in the side of the industry, beginning with the office of the CEO or the CTO. This cannot be left to the processes and automatic, you might say, the natural evolution at levels below these offices. The reason is there are a few hurdles that have to be overcome. There is from what you heard, the Indian automotive industry has now reached a point where they do develop their own platforms, but there's a considerable dependence for very good reasons. And that involves an entire paradigm change in the way they operate, a lot of standardization, a lot of prefab, There are only 2 or 3 companies in India which have evolved to the design and build state, and beyond that of being a contractor or a mere architect. So